make sure you get everything like you want it. Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, good evening, or I guess good afternoon, Sigma Race fans, as we come at you live here tonight for the USA Trucks East Division from Michigan. And starting on the front row, you've got Alan Malcolm alongside Michigan native there in Tim Cording. Next row, you've got the dual citizenship American Britain running in third, qualified third that is, Chaz Chadwick alongside Alex Sanvital. And then you've got Cannon Gage with newcomer in the USA Trucks East Division, Snake Plissken. We just saw him break out and win in his first ever career start in the Sigma ARCA Series. Starting top 10 here tonight in an Al Bunch prepped Toyota. Should be interesting to see what he can pull off here. Borat Sagdiev alongside a most recent winner, David Bird, who won on the street circuit. And then you've got Shy Turtle, Ryan White, James Gunner, Chelsea Carter, Chris Jeremio, and Al Bunch. Eli the Wolf with Jeffrey Gerald, Gabe McDuffie alongside Sebastian Galloway Jr., Ace Vaden, Chase Kovacic, Brandon Butler, Andrew Moger, Gannon Bird, Bradley Ream, Jack Ross, Mitchell Carter, Craig Bush, Johnny Blaney, Skylar Taylor, Drew Clue, Jakov Rosovich, Alan Chavot, Ralph Oberstadt, Nate Newman, Wyatt Wilkinson, Chris Hergeson, Andre Stefan, Kyle Ottawa, Craig Popchris, John Brinker, with Jamie Horseman and Ryan Little rounding out the field here. 200 miles here for Michigan today for 100 laps in total. This race most likely is going to be a quick one, as the speeds at Michigan are no joke. Could we potentially see a Michigan native get the job done here tonight? It's not very often that we see the home track drivers get the job done. He's going to have his hands full with the Trevor Ventures duo there of Alan Malcolm and Alex Sanvital. Chaz Chadwick, always a threat. And then there's the unknown as to whether or not Snake Plissken could go 2 for 2 in his 2 series debuts. So keep your eyes on the 81 there. Al Bunch is definitely knocking out some top-notch trucks as of late. The 80 of Shy Turtle, also an Al Bunch entry. Here we go into turn 1. It's going to look nearly 3 wide, almost 4 wide in spots here, as the drivers try to figure out the line to take to make the move. Alan Malcolm closes the door, takes over sole possession of first place, and here comes Cannon Gage on the low side. Still crazy to say that Chevy has not won a lot of races in the USA Trucks. They've actually matched, prior to this year, they matched their season, their not season, their grand total amongst the USA Trucks, with 2 wins this year to double it to 4 for Chevy in the series, which is just insane. 4 wide. This could get problematic for your drivers there, as it's seemingly hard to get settled into single file running right now. Shy Turtle on the low side, David Bird in the middle, Alex Sanvital slots in behind Chadwick. We're going to continue to run 4 wide here as Shy Turtle gets pushed up a lane there. 13 of Chris Jeremio making it 4 wide on the inside. It's kind of hard to follow the leaders right now when we've got such great racing for 5th place. Oh, and there's the wreck. We knew it was coming. It was a matter of time. we've had the biggest wreck in Sigma history earlier this year. Are we going to see another one? Looks like some big names involved in the dust up here. And we might have to do some analyzing on that one. Coming to the yellow flag, it's going to be Alan Malcolm. But let us try to do our best analysis on the wreck at hand here. You knew 4 wide was eventually going to get out of control here. Looks like Chadwick gets a pretty good lick there. Not a lot of big hits, just a lot of spinners throughout the field. We'll see how bad Snake Plissken gets involved in it here. Looks like he gets kind of pushed up into the wall. Ooh, he gets run into on the side there. The 56 of Stefan. The 10. Don't know if we're going to see very many retirements from the wreck, believe it or not. Oh, the 96 of David Bird goes for a tumble, though. And they just kind of dogpile in there. And that's tough for David Bird. He had nowhere else he could have been. He gets tangled up in it, not of his doing. And they come dogpiling in there, sending him for a tumble. There's one guy I want to see, though. I think it's Jeffrey Gerald that darts. Oh, it's Vaden. Ace Vaden goes for a wild ride through the grass, but it looks like he saves it. So, one caution early in this one. It looks like the retirements, 5 retired out of the race. Nate Newman, Skylar Taylor, David Bird, along with the 28 and the 46. So Craig Popcris and Jamie Horseman. Yeah, Skylar Taylor, Nate Newman, the other 2 retired out from the wreck there. So we're going to go ahead and try to get this back and rolling ASAP here. A few drivers a little bit more rough for the wear after the damage sustained in the early wreck. They'll rejoin the track at the back end here with parts and pieces missing from their truck. Looks like about, once you get into the top 15, that's where the clean trucks reside. Shy Turtle was able to get away without too much damage during the wreck. He was in the midst of the 4 wide action there. I do believe Sigma officials may have signaled for a single wide restart here. We'll have to see if they double up or not. Try to give them a little bit more room to race without getting 4 wide so quickly. At least for one restart here tonight. Once we get back into it, there will be double file restarts to finish out the night here. But single file on this first restart after the big wreck 4-wide racing here at Michigan. Michigan's no joke. We don't want any drivers getting injured, dinged up. David Bird, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on him after having a tumble like that. Skylar Taylor as well. Those are two drivers that are multi-level drivers. They race in Bridge to Cup, ARCA, trucks, wherever they have to. So definitely don't want to miss a race due to injury. Here we go. Tim Cording trying to take the lead away from Alan Malcolm. It's been a tough battle for Tim Cording this year, hoping to get a win in all series that they're contending in. And this is the one that's he's felt going to be the most elusive this year, getting a win in the truck series, since the field is so stacked, full of talent, that it's going to come when it comes. But it may be a tough one to get. Here we got Ace Vaden. Cracking into the top 5 there. Willow Racing's Chase Kovacic running top 5 right now. And they're getting back into some 3-wide racing already at the front half of the field there. Even some of these drivers with damaged vehicles, I don't know if their day's completely done yet. You know, there could be some more big wrecks up at the front that take some other huge contenders out. So just keep an eye on some of these drivers in the back half. They might still have something to show for. If anything, they're more than likely going to be racing amongst a big group of drivers to get into the top 15. So dang, Tim Cording gets hung out high to dry as Alan Malcolm regains the lead. Ace Vaden up to second. Gannon Bird in third, and Borat Sagdiev on the low side there, trying to get up into the top 5. Looks like Tim Cording made a miscalculation on running the high line there, and he's going to pay dearly for it. Wow, Alex Sanvital, who sits top 3 in the points, they're going to have a rough night here tonight, running 37th at risk of going a lap down already. Ace Vaden, a driver yet to win in Sigma USA Trucks Racing. Number 1 has had some good runs here once in a while. Currently, Ace Vaden resides deeper in the points, though. It's not been an ideal year so far. Average finish of 20th, rather 23rd, I guess. Best finish on the season has been a 12th from Atlanta. So some of these faster tracks he's a little bit better at. His second best finish was Nashville, and then Watkins Glen also were both a 13th place finish. So Ace Vaden waking up here. Summertime is when it matters more, because you're going to start racking up bonus points towards the chase. A win and top 25 in the points means you're in for the W chase at the end of the year. The W West East Chase Championship Battle, which is always an exciting one to follow. Looks like he's going to have the lap lead there on Kovacic this time by narrow margin there, but he gets it. So I've been considering that we've got a race on the schedule that was mislabeled. A West Coast race in New York, which obviously is not the West Coast. It's very much the East Coast. So I have been pondering, and I'm thinking to adjust for the mistake in the scheduling FUPA. We might have an East-West race before the East-West Championship. And what it would look like is the top 20 from the West, top 20 from the East will actually show up to New York for the street circuit race. And it would be 20 of the best, kind of an appetizer course, you know, to what we can expect for the Dubby chase later on in the season. And the one thing is, the points will pretty much go as normal. You'll get points credited based on how you finish to the East Coast or the West Coast. It's really the only thing that's been kind of a hang up in my head, because how would I score? You would basically treat it as an individual race for each coast, and points wise you would put in 20 drivers and the points they got. So I'm not sure how I'll do that yet, but if anything, I might have to adjust the schedule just a tad bit with that being mislabeled as a West Coast race when it should be truly an East Coast race with these drivers. Meanwhile, it's Chase Kovacic out front here on lap 16. Some drivers actually coming up to the front here, as you've got Shy Turtle knocking on the door of a top 5. Getting alongside his buddy there in Borat Sagdiev. Someone we don't really talk much about here, Mitchell Carter in the number 8 Orange Velocity Chevrolet. Been fairly new to the series this year and just kind of quietly in the background, but moving up to the front here tonight in Michigan, having a good run. Looks like Snake Plissken with the damage. He's been able to move up to 19th. He's running laps comparable to your lead pack. He's going to have some work to do to catch them, but perhaps a caution or something could help close that gap for him. Top 20 nonetheless. Still a great night for your debut if he can maintain it. Ooh, Ace Vaden's going to get stuck behind the lap traffic here. 4 wide for 19th place roughly. Well, and now we've got Gannon Bird jumping to the lead here at 59 Dodge Ram. We've seen the lead swap hands multiple times now at the front. It's been an exciting race so far. About a quarter of the way through tonight's event. Yeah, as this is race number 10 in the regular season, we're down to 5 races left to go before the chase actually is established. And the drivers that are pretty much locked in are sitting about top 10 in the points right now, except for Andrew Moger, who has a win, and he's 15th in the points. That's good enough. Win and top 25, you're into the chase. So Andrew Moger sitting on a playoff berth at the moment. He's got quite a window to keep ahead of. So the rest of your drivers, your 5 drivers at the front of the field, top 5 with a win, including Alan Malcolm, James Gunner, Alex Sanvital, David Bird, and Cannon Gage, they're locked into the chase with a win. So, points-wise, you've got Chaz Chadwick with 270 points, Gannon Bird with 262, Ralph Oberstadt with 259, and Chelsea Carter with 244. Al Bunch is only 1 point behind Chelsea Carter, 243, so 1 point behind, and he's having a rough night here. So Chelsea Carter actually running top 15 here. She's sitting well. She's going to keep that momentum ahead of Al Bunch. 3 wide for the lead. It's going to be Mitchell Carter going to the lead for what may very well be the first time in his career. Up till tonight, he's only led, he's led 11 laps this season, so not the first time ever. He led earlier this year at Nashville. But getting those lead laps here tonight, at least getting one there, is Shy Turtle making a move on the inside. You've got 2 trucks that are pretty similar in paint patterns, a little different color-wise. You got Shy Turtle and Gabe McDuffie in the green, white, red, black trucks. And Mitchell Carter's going to keep the lead away as he rolls around the outside here, leading another lap here tonight at Michigan. So that 9th place in the points will get very interesting here. If if we have another winner outside the top 10 in points, that shakes things up yet again too. Mitchell Carter sits 14th. A win would probably jump him up to about 11th. Well, that win would then knock out Chelsea Carter, who sits 9th in the points. And she's on the attack trying to get Ralph Oberstadt. So she might actually be able to outpoint Ralph Oberstadt here today, who was in that wreck earlier. 32nd for Oberstadt. It's a long way ahead for him. Points are crucial. You got some drivers, obviously, that have no chance, that just joined the series, just like Pliskin there, or even Borat Sagdiev. However, if Borat gets a win, he's already up to 21st in the points. Prior to North Wilkesboro, he had an average finish of about 3rd. Since then, his average finish has kind of became more human at 11. But top 10 here today, running strong. All he needs is a win, and he's in. Shy Turtle just barely joined. This is, I think, his 2nd race. His first race was 17th at Cleveland last week. Man, if Shy Turtle won a race, then we'd be looking at the charge to try and get up to 25th. A win's worth 50 points, 55 on a max day. 25th in the points has 113. So very doable with 5 races to go if Shy Turtle gets a win. Insane if it would actually happen. Obviously, the points would not shake up as favorable since he didn't have a full season to gain bonus points for the chase. The way we award it is pole positions, wins, driver with the most lead laps. There's a lot of criteria, but those are all bonus points that you carry into the chase. And so without having finished all the races this year, one win would only be worth like 5 bonus points in the chase. And it'd give you not as great of a seeding for the end of the season 10 race chase for all the marbles. When you look at someone like Alan Malcolm, who has 4 wins, has led a good portion of the laps this season, has had 2 poles, those bonus points, he might be seated amongst the top 5. We look over on the West Coast, though, for example, that has been a dominant season out of Matthew Fastnot with 4 wins. He has no poles, though. Trevor Vaden has 4 poles. So honestly, the stats are all kind of lining up together that we might have a pretty tight group for the East-West combined total of tally. It's going to be interesting. We haven't seen anyone get above 4 wins yet on the USA Truck side here, East or West. The parity has been impressive. We've seen so many different winners through all of our series of racing, honestly. But here we have Alan Malcolm leading. It could be win number 5 for him today if he's able to pull it off. Gannon Bird, who sits 7th in the points, he's sitting pretty in the points, but that ain't going to be ideal. Once some of these other drivers start winning, we still have room for the top 10 to fall out with outside winners. So top 5 are locked in, of course. 5 races to go. We could have 4 different winners outside the top 10 in points, and no one could point in at that point. So but big change comes here tonight if Alan Malcolm wins. That means there's that one more shot for someone to point their way in with another repeat winner that could happen here tonight. But I have somewhat of a premonition that we're not going to see a repeat winner, as Alan Malcolm's been looking good. There's a few other drivers, though, looking even better. Gannon Bird making a solid bid here at the front, as well as Mitchell Carter and Shy Turtle now up to 4th. Tim Cording back in 5th. Hometown racer, still having a good showing here so far. Wants to bring KBM a win here at Michigan. As laps are going to start clipping away pretty quickly here for Michigan. Pit stops might be on the horizon for some of these drivers. Mitchell Carter making a move on the 59. Things have definitely got strung out here late in this running, as a lot of your drivers kind of setting it on cruise control for now. No big push to try and win the race on lap 38 when you still have 62 laps to go. Gannon Bird, though, wants to be contrary to that statement, as he's trying to rough it up here with Alan Malcolm. Shy Turtle with the momentum on the high side here. He's going to get around for 2nd. Tim Cording with the momentum on the low side. He might be fighting for 3rd. those of you that have just joined into the Sigma racing circuit as of recent, this is about the time of the year where things really get entertaining. With championships on the line, race wins racking up for certain drivers that have been at it all year. Midway point, that's where it all kind of cream starts to rise to the top. In this USA Truck Series, you're going to start seeing some drivers with a little bit more passion, a little bit more panic as to where they need to get a win before the chase starts. And with our upcoming schedule following tonight here at Michigan, you've got the New York Street Circuit, which is supposed to coincide with the rest of the Sigma Series all heading to the New York Street Circuit next. They get the first shot at it, and there's possibility that we might even do a double header of sorts, have the East and the West Series run there, so that everyone's got an extra race under their belt. Yeah, I got to figure that one out still. And then we've got Las Vegas for the West Coast, Kentucky and Bristol for the East Coast, Iowa on the West, Hillside on the East, Oklahoma on the West, Darlington on the East, Evergreen on the West, and then Pocono, the final cut. But I'm still telling everyone that this race right here, since the next race on the schedule is mislabeled, we might actually have a secret 16th race for one of our series. We might actually treat the New York Street Circuit as a East race, as it truly should be. And then we'll figure out another West Circuit to end it. And perhaps run in correlation with the New York Street Circuit race. So, yeah, because as it sits right now, this is race number 10 on the East Coast. 11 and 12 would be Kentucky and Bristol. 13 would be Hillside. 14 would be Darlington. And 15 would be Pocono. And that New York Street Circuit should be number 16. Meaning, with our West Coast, Phoenix was race number 10. Next in line would be Las Vegas 11, Iowa 12, Oklahoma 13, Evergreen 14. And so we're actually 2 races short for the West Coast. So hold vigilant. There are some schedule adjustments that are going to be made here within the next day or so, maybe even already made, as this is a pre-recorded truck race airing the next day. And I may have very well made that change already on the server, adjusting it. We need 2 more West track circuits, which I can find those pretty quickly. The only requirement is that it would have to have enough pit stalls to host our USA Trucks West division. And then, yeah, we would have the unexpected extra race to fill in the schedule mishaps. So Sounds like we've got some trucks heading down pit lane. Pit stops as scheduled right at about halfway here. Oh, and you got the 81 of Snake Plissken with a small group that followed him down pit lane. And it's about halfway. I don't know if that's going to be enough for them. Let's see what NR2003 says for fuel mileage. Well, shit, 50 laps right down the gut. He better hope and pray that he saves a little bit of fuel here. That's where your leader's staying out here to lap 52 and trying to push it as long as they can here. Should be good to go all the way to the finish. Alan Malcolm leading the way, staying out with Tim Cording, Gannonbird, Kovacic, and Sagdiev. Our next group of takers should not be too far from here. As there you go, Alan Malcolm, Tim Cording, Gannonbird, head to pit road. McDuffie, looks like Sagdiev stays out, as well as Kovacic. A few other drivers. This is huge. The longer you can stay out here at Michigan, the more fuel mileage you'll have to the finish. And we already know how Michigan seems to be a fuel race every time anything races here. So these drivers are building pretty good cushion. Looks like Kovacic may be fluttering here, running out on his way to pit road. The 8, Mitchell Carter, is going to stretch it a little bit longer. Ryan White stretching it pretty long here. He's going to be second across the line, staying out a little bit later. Moger is coming back from pitting, so yeah, so that's your last two drivers out there. And they are trying to stretch it an obscene distance here. Wow, Plissken with the fresh tires and full tank of gas. He's trying to make up some time while he still can. He was 19th before pitting. He took the undercut strategy and got out there sooner with fresh tires. We'll see if him and perhaps 95 there of Galloway have a good strategy call here to gain some spots. Still a couple drivers staying out here as long as they can. I'm trying to see where it might rotate back to who should be the new leader here. Wow, Ryan White still staying out. How in the world has he stayed out this long without pitting? He must have got a little bit extra Chevrolet power, the engine performing like it should. And there he's going to have to relinquish the lead. He was on a lap nearly on his own. Him with 4 other drivers on the lead lap there. He may have been desperately hoping for a caution before he had to come pit. Didn't get no caution. But we'll see how the strategy works out there. If he's going to have a better run on the exit, perhaps still be in the mix. So it should shuffle back around to our leaders being amongst these 5 right here. Tim Cording, Chase Kovacic, Gannonbird, Alan Malcolm, Shy Turtle, and Mitchell Carter. Mitchell Carter just exiting pit road. Is he going to be able to maintain a top position here with the leaders? He's going to stay right with your lead pack. So Mitchell Carter making a big move there. And there you see Ryan White leaving. It looks like he's going to get shuffled back to about 11th, 13th, And then another pack there. 18th or 19th. And Snake Plissken may not be a gain, but it's definitely not a huge loss either, as it looks like he's going to stay in about the 20th position where he was running prior to those pit stops. So interesting strategies playing out here. Oh, the weight of Al Bunch comes in and blocks the leaders on a fast segment of the track right there. Gannenberg gets the lead. Tim Cording gets stuck behind Al Bunch here. Al Bunch involved in the wreck earlier in the race, so his truck not all where it should be. But in the meanwhile, you've got Gannenberg leading, Shy Turtle and Borat bump drafting up the front here. A lot of these drivers still desperately hoping for a caution to get back in the mix. And here we've got Alan Malcolm going back to the lead. The winningest driver on the East Coast so far this season, trying to get another one. But he's got his hands full with the likes of Gannenberg, Shy Turtle, and even Mitchell Carter. And do not rule out Borat Sagdiev, Chase Kovacic, Gabe McDuffie, or even the hometown hero in Tim Cording. 39 laps remain. Oh, and the lap traffic. That's a teammate. Teammate lap traffic is actually going to deal a heavy blow to his teammate there, the 9 of Alan Malcolm. Shy Turtle making a big push to the front now. He's going to have to get around the number 9. Lap traffic has really put in a twist in this race that I don't think anyone saw coming. Wow, Gannenberg gets the worst end of it as he's stuck behind the number 10 and drops all the way back to 10th. Some of the other lap trucks not as difficult to deal with here, but man, it is a hornet's nest at the front. Borat making a move for the lead as the lap trucks slow up the 9 here. This is really where a caution would come in handy, because if we got a caution this late in the race, lap traffic would be factored out for the rest of it here. Here we go, Tim Cording making a push on the 14. Chase Kovacic coming into the picture again. 3 wide for the lead as they go into turn 1. 4 wide with your lap traffic on the high side. Gabe McDuffie. Wow, the 59 had just dropped back to 10th, and he's already back into the top 5. What a valiant push out of the 59 there. Gannenberg not giving up, even with the lap traffic throwing him a curveball. He's striking back with a vengeance. Borat is dangerous here, folks. He's a driver on a mission since joining the series. Like I mentioned, the 3 of Ralph Oberstadt wanted to give him a little bit of business there as Borat fighting for the lead got bumped by the lap traffic. That could have been terrible. Kovacic capitalizes and takes the lead away, though. And Borat Sagdiev is stuck on the high side with little room to get on the inside. This very well could become an instant classic in the USA Truck Series as we're watching These drivers put it all out there on the line. But as I was going to say about Borat Sagdiev, he's only made 5 starts so far. In a 5 starts, he's already climbed all the way up into 21st in the points, which is just insane. Miss half the season, climb halfway through the field. That doesn't happen very often. And here he is fighting for a win pretty much week in, week out right now. And all it's going to take is that one win and you're in. Man, it's been a tough season for Bradley Ream. He's deep in the points as well. A driver who had been a perennial contender for wins week in and week out. He's 12th in the points, so not terrible, but average finish this season has been 17th, so he's really been at the mid-pack tier this year. Far cry from his winning caliber runs that we've seen out of that 40 team. Railfan Motorsports having a good run here tonight, though, and perhaps trying to turn their fortunes around. Kovacic ahead of him in the number 77 is a little bit deeper in the points, running in 18th right now. Kovacic with an average finish of 19th on the season. So these two drivers really looking to upset the field with a good finish here tonight, regardless of their past results on the season. And then where do I start with Tim Courting? He's had a up and down season so far, kind of a rough season with wreckers involved, where he's had so many races that he could have won, and then the other races where he just ended up in mistakes not of his doing. So we're starting to see some, strange occurrences with some of our top tier drivers. That it's just, it's been a rough year. And every once in a while you get one of those years where a lot of top stars are struggling, and that is 2025 here. Chaz Chadwick has had a rough one. Tim Courting has had a rough one. Al Bunch has been up and down. And these are all drivers you expect to see winning races. Bradley Ream, like I mentioned. And even Jack Ross, who's been in contention year in, year out for wins, is having a rough year as well. So, as you see there, Chaz Chadwick going a lap down. He's in on points right now, but if the surprise winners start racking up here, he could be knocked out without a win, getting knocked out of the chase. So that would be a rough one for the 18 team. Not a lot of bonus points rolling in for the 18, as he has 0 poles, and it's not looking like he's going to get any more chase points when the chase does roll out. So it's going to come down to getting that win and getting a couple of them before the end of the regular season. As this West Coast now knows they're going to have an extra race to work with on the scheduling FUPA. And that could totally change things up too. We've got to figure out what 2 West Coast tracks we got to throw in the mix here. we're down to 27 laps left to go here for Michigan tonight. At the moment, it's Chase Kovacic for Willow Racing, defending Tim Cording, the hometown native, fighting for a win at his home track. Another side storyline is Tim Cording is actually going to employ Willow Blake next year, the owner of that 77 truck. So I wonder if there's maybe some cooperation going on there, you know. I don't think Willow Blake would simply let Tim Cording win, but there may be some at least helpful hands being thrown around there to give the 77 and 50 a good shot at the win here tonight. They're doing a good job right now, but it's going to be up to those two to keep Alan Malcolm, Shy Turtle, Borat Sagdiev behind them. The win here tonight's going to be huge for whoever gets it, as that will be the golden ticket stamped into the chase. We're 3/4 of the way through the race here tonight. We're in the home stretch now. It's time to nut up or shut up. Alan Malcolm bouncing back to the front again. It's been hard to keep this 9 truck behind. 4 wins on the season, looking for race win number 5. Could it be potentially Michigan here tonight? We look back to last season, the USA Trucks 2024 East campaign. Alan Malcolm had 2 wins on the season, one of which was Kentucky and the other was the Charlotte Roval. Didn't look like Michigan was on our schedule last year for the East Coast, impressively enough. Some tracks absent this year include Mid-Ohio and I want to say Eldora there. Killcare is also absent. So some tracks got replaced. This one obviously a new addition from 2024. And Malcolm looking to try and get a win. We go back even further. Alan Malcolm was not part of well, he was, I think, but not on the East Coast. He had Jordan Walker on the East Coast. That's crazy to look back a couple years and see how much things have changed. We've definitely come a long way, folks. And I'm impressed with the growth and just how much we still have to grow. Things look good. Well, with 20 laps to go, there's still a lot of fighting to be had here. We could see very many different outcomes unfold here in the final 20 laps of this one. I wouldn't rule out a potential late race caution either. We could see that, and that would really shake things up. You have a second pack here stretching back to about 19th, rather 16th. A lot of lap trucks scattered throughout the field. Next to go a lap down is actually 20th place. So they've lapped halfway through the field already. 20 trucks left on the lead lap. And those two are going to be holding on as long as they can to keep the lead lap. So apart from those two, we do have the other trucks that are much slower out there, could still potentially be a hazard or a risk for our leaders. But with 20 laps to go, a lot less lap traffic in the forecast. Mitchell Carter still hanging around in the top 5 here. Very, very possible that he could get the job done here tonight. Actually, a couple Chevys in striking distance here with Tim Cording and Carter. And you've got 2 Toyotas and a Dodge Ram to round out your top 5. Some more Toyotas after that, some more Dodges. And we do have a Volkswagen in the top 10. The Amarok being run by Borat Sagdiev. Shy Turtle is racing for Al Bunch Incorporated. Number 80 Toyota having a great run here tonight. Gabe McDuffie just behind him there. He's competing for LM Novalis, which is Aunt Me Person's truck team. Teammate to the 13. Fastest lap in the race so far does belong to Shy Turtle here at a resounding 38.555, 186.6 miles an hour around Michigan. But the big question is going to be if everyone's got enough fuel to make it to the finish. And we knew there were some drivers that stretched it a little further. Should be most of your leaders that got past halfway, but it's going to be pushing it. And they may be running on fumes by the end of this one. Tim Cording trying to capture lightning in a bottle, get some of the glory days back that he's long since lost here in 2025. 3 wide for the lead. He's got Kovacic on the low side fighting him. They both get by the number 9, but it's not going to be settled down on the backstretch here. Tim trying to drag race the 77. Meanwhile, the 59 of Gannon Bird pushing it 3 wide, and now, oh, they close the door on the 59. Tim Cording still fighting back on the high side here. He might have a good run down the front stretch. 59 trying again on the low side. Tim leads the lap, but is he going to have enough of a window to close the door? Not quite. As now you've got 4 wide for 4th place with Bradley Ream pushing the envelope there. Borat Sagdiev, those are all lap cars, lead lap cars, fighting for 4th place. We saw the last time things got 4 wide, they got out of control, so hopefully things settle down here and they keep them going forward. Borat, the big mover there in the 4 wide, push to the lead, and he's up to 3rd. Fighting for the top 3 spots here. Laps are ticking away here for Michigan. Chase Kovacic back to the lead. They cannot leave well alone as they keep trying to push it 3 wide everywhere on the racetrack right here. Alan Malcolm wants to get back up there. Your top 10 all with a fighting shot here tonight. Top 9 actually. And that secondary group, barring at least some form of a caution or something, could still get back into this. They're not too far out of reach. Heck, even if your top 9 all ended up wrecking each other, they could come through and steal the win. Kovacic gets back by Gannonbird for the lead. 10 laps to go at the line. Well, this has definitely been a spectacular race here tonight, folks. If you tuned in, you're definitely catching a good one. Michigan does not disappoint. We had one caution earlier in the race with a big wreck on the backstretch, but since then it's been smooth sailing for these truckers here tonight. And now with just 8 laps to go, who's going to have enough fuel? Who's going to have the momentum? Is it getting sorted out here, or is someone waiting in the background waiting to pounce? Tim Cording gets alongside Kovacic again. These two have been duking it out hard all night long. Borat pushing up to 3rd again. He's been in 3rd a few times, but since fades each time he gets there. The more the leaders keep swapping positions, the more it's going to bring the rest of the field back up to the front. Alan Malcolm's going to start knocking on the door again here. Wow, what a race we've got on our hands, folks. We could be in for a photo finish if this thing keeps going the way it's going. Borat knocking on the door now. Finally up to 3rd with momentum on his side. Is he going to be able to push around the number 9, or is he going to get stuck again in 3rd place? Kovacic on the high side, fighting back with the 9. He won't let the 9 get away with the lead too easily here. Feel like Tim Cording maybe helping draft just a little bit. The 77, kind of an ally. Drag race down the front stretch. It's going to be at the line, the 9. But that wasn't the last lap. We still got some laps to go. And look at the push that Tim Cording is giving Kovacic. Keeping Kovacic up at the front here. And not letting that 9 steal the lead. This almost looks like Daytona the way they're racing. Drafting and bump. It's all getting very exciting here with the draft. Kind of settling the race here tonight. Kovacic gets back in front of the 9, and now with just 5 laps to go, is it going to be enough? I would not want to be leading with 5 to go. I'd rather be leading on the white flag, because that 9 is still a tough customer to hold back. You got a dynamic duo on the inside line here with Borat Sagdiev and Shy Turtle drafting with each other. This could be a bit of a game changer, but the 59 is going to try to separate the two of them. Tim Cording closes the door. Borat yet again gets up to third and then plateaus. Tim Cording wants that win at the home track. He's going to try to come back on the 9 here. As these guys get side by side, that's only going to help the rest of the top 10 fight for the win here. Wow, Kovacic trying to block both lines of the racetrack here. He cut across the front of the 9 to try and block the run from the 50. Now the 50 has to settle back in line behind the 9. So it looked like maybe Kovacic cutting the draft. That actually worked, giving him dirty air to slow down his pace. Kind of a dirty move, honestly. Here we go. The 9 goes low. The 50 goes mid. That's a strange move to make. I would probably stick as low as I can here and try to go on the 9's inside. Man, Kovacic just all of a sudden lost the momentum. That's wild. I thought he was running the winning race. But perhaps that was actually a strategic move. Instead of being in the lead on lap 97, he wants to get back there and try to get back around to lead on lap 100. He knows that these two are going to try to duke it out for the lead, and that's only going to keep him in the mix. Couple laps left to go now. Tim Cording to the lead. Kovacic falls back to fourth as Mitchell Carter in third. And I'm really wondering if fuel mileage is factoring in here, because you're starting to see some drivers that are dropping backwards, a few other drivers that are pushing forward. Borat Sagdiev looked like he had a truck capable of winning, and now he's just an afterthought back there in seventh. Here comes the 9 of Malcolm. And the 8 of Carter. And how about that? The 77 of Kovacic. Man, Alan Malcolm takes the lead at the worst possible time for these drivers, as they're going to have to try and get around him with the white flag in air. One more lap to go. Could it be a Cinderella story, or is it going to be the guy that's won them all this year? Mitchell Carter has not won yet in Sigma Racing, and a very fresh rookie on the circuit, hoping to start establishing himself and work his way up the ladder. Here he comes down the backstretch. He's going to have a shot. Is it going to be enough, though? He's going to get side by side down the backstretch with Alan Malcolm, the guy that's won them all this year. They're in turn 3. I don't think Carter's led very many laps here tonight, but he's going to lead the one that matters the most as he gets around the 9 of Alan Malcolm. Heading down the front stretch, Tim Cording is going to come up just short in his fight for the win at home. Mitchell Carter gets his first career Sigma USA Trucks win here tonight from Michigan. What a race, folks. We were treated to a spectacular one here tonight at Michigan. Mitchell Carter gets the job done for Orange Velocity Racing Chevrolet. And yet another win for Chevy this year. 3 on the season. They've already outperformed their first 2 years in the USA Trucks with a 3rd win tonight. That makes for 5 wins from Chevrolet in the USA Trucks grand total. Congratulations yet again, Mitchell Carter.
Did you have any ignition problems?
What a big night for this new rookie on the circuit. Finally getting his first career win. And that, folks, just kicks off our racing week here for Sigma. As next up on the calendar, you've got the Bridge to Cup race later tonight from Sonoma. Sonoma, which is actually going to start the seeding races for our bracket championship. So you won't want to miss out on Sonoma with our Bridge to Cup stars as Carson Bowers, Willow Blake try to set the field straight for the push to the championship bracket. Then we got later on in the week, we've got ARCA. ARCA's always a favorite. We get to run on the dirt here this week for the Chili Bowl, racing at the Chili Bowl track for the Chili Cheese 150 in our ARCA series. That'll be entertaining. And Thursday night with the Cup Series, as we will also hit Sonoma with the Cup Series. So double duty at Sonoma for 2 of our series this week. But yet again, congratulations to Mitchell Carter. Most likely the first of many for the driver from Orange Velocity Chevrolet number 8 team. So keep at it, and great race, folks. That was an excellent race here to start the week. So hopefully all stay safe out there. Have a good week. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.